Hey, this is Bill. Welcome back to the channel. Our planet Earth is spinning around right now incredibly fast. But strangely, we cannot feel this spinning at all. So here is a truly terrifying question to think about. What would happen if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Not forever, but for just one single tiny second. You might think 1 second sounds completely harmless, but the truth is one of the most violent things imaginable. To understand why, we first need to talk about speed. The Earth spins around one full time every single day. The Earth is also absolutely enormous all the way around. To spin all the way around in one day, it must move fast. At the equator, the ground is moving about 1,000 miles per hour. That is faster than most jet airplanes can fly. So right now, you are secretly zooming along at that speed. But wait, if we are moving that fast, why can we not feel it? The answer is that everything is moving along together. You, the ground, the air, and the oceans all move as one. Because the speed never changes, it feels like we are perfectly still. It is just like riding in a very smooth, fast car. You do not feel the speed until the car suddenly slams to a stop. And that is exactly where the real nightmare begins. Imagine the solid ground of the Earth instantly freezing still. But everything sitting on top of it does not stop at all. Because of a simple rule of nature, everything keeps moving. You, your house, your car, and your whole city keep flying forward at around 1,000 miles per hour toward the east. Everything that is not bolted deep into the ground gets launched. People, cars, trees, and buildings would be swept away instantly. They would be flung sideways faster than any speeding bullet. Entire cities would be scraped right off the surface of the Earth. And sadly, that is only the very beginning of the disaster. Remember, the air in our atmosphere was also moving with us. When the ground stops, that air just keeps rushing forward. This would create the most powerful winds in all of history. Supersonic winds screaming across the land at 1,000 miles per hour. These winds alone would flatten forests and level whole mountains. The friction of that rushing air could even set the land on fire. But believe it or not, the oceans would be even worse. All of the water in the oceans was also moving at full speed. When the ground halts, the water does not stop with it. Instead, the oceans would keep charging forward across the land. This would unleash mega-tsunamis taller than any skyscraper. Giant walls of water would race across entire continents. Coastlines all around the world would be completely wiped out. So in just this 1 second, the surface would be utterly destroyed. But not every single place would be hit equally hard. The disaster would depend on exactly where you were standing. At the equator, the ground moves the very fastest of all. So the middle of the Earth would face the most extreme chaos. But at the North and South poles, the ground barely moves at all. Standing right on a pole, you might spin gently in a circle. So the safest place to be would be at the very poles. Everywhere else, though, would be an unimaginable catastrophe. The friction and impacts would ignite gigantic fires everywhere. Thick smoke and dust would rise up and fill the entire sky. The sun could be blocked out and hidden for a very long time. But far up in space, our satellites would actually be perfectly safe. They orbit on their own, so they would not even notice the stop. The moon would also keep floating calmly in its place above us. But down on the surface, almost nothing at all would survive. Even the solid mountains could crack and crumble from the shock. Whole landscapes would be violently rearranged in a single instant. The oceans would slosh back and forth for many weeks afterward. It would take our poor planet many years to finally settle down. And remember, all of that came from stopping for just 1 second. And do not forget, the Earth only stopped for 1 second. Which means a moment later, it has to start spinning again. And restarting the spin causes a whole second disaster. Now everything has come to rest on the still, frozen ground. But suddenly the ground beneath it lurches back to full speed. Everything gets violently thrown backward in the other direction. So the world would be smashed twice, once for stopping, once for starting. A single second would be more than enough to end civilization. It is honestly one of the scariest thought experiments there is. So thankfully, the Earth is never ever going to actually do this. There is simply no force powerful enough to stop it so suddenly. Our planet's spin is wonderfully steady and reliable. And that steady spin is what makes life on Earth possible. It gives us our gentle days and our peaceful nights. It helps guide our winds and our ocean currents. So the next time you feel like nothing exciting is happening, just remember you are quietly racing through space at full speed, sitting perfectly still while secretly moving faster than a jet. And be very, very grateful that our planet never hits the brakes. Because that boring, steady spin is quietly keeping us all alive. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a new one. This has been Bill. See you in the next video.